speaker has said that if we break down, if national security gets broken through, then our country will crumble down because there's no security. But wouldn't you argue that education, healthcare, economic development, and other sectors they would fight for that? Well, let's see. If security gets broken down, what about the impact of our country? Like, so there's other sectors as well. There's not only military sector, right? And so, if we care about only military, what about the other sectors? If other sectors are already run, there's still with corruption, there's no more development, there's only funds and resources being moved towards military sector, then how can we improve our country? And secondly, you also said that military sector of when we have more people, we can build, we can be stronger for our national security, and we also need more people for technology, right? But you said that we need more people to manage. What about we let those people continue their education, have more access to healthcare development, and all the development will contribute more to them and to our country instead. And that enough would build patriotism and country development. So my role as the third speaker of the opposition is to demonstrate why our side has won this debate. And ultimately it comes down to three major classes. And three things you can expect in my speech are rebuttal, passion, and why our side wins. The first fact is security versus the border. Throughout this debate, opposition has argued that military conscription strengthens national security by increasing the number of soldiers available to defend our country. However, opposition has shown that this argument only applies to a very limited number of countries. As the first speaker has explained, countries facing immediate military threats or countries with unusually small development or developed nations, they are the countries that are most fit to successfully implement conscription. But for the majority of countries, especially developing nations like our country, Cambodia ourselves, the most urgent threats are not foreign invasion. They are poverty, unemployment, poor healthcare, weak education systems, and inadequate infrastructure that Caltech has failed to measure how important we should contribute. The question before this panel is not whether security is important. We're not arguing against that. Of course it is. But the question is whether military conscription is the most urgent priority. Alongside our health, governments invest resources into schools, hospitals, and economic opportunities. And on the opposition side, governments divert these resources, human resources, towards compulsory military service. And we believe that a healthy, educated, and productive population would instead contribute far more to national strength than simply just increasing the number of people in uniform. Our second path is obligation versus freedom. Opposition argues that citizens have a duty to serve their country through military service because we are the citizen of our country, right? But opposition asks a simple question. Why must that service be forced? Citizens already contribute to society through education, work, taxes, innovation, volunteering, and community service. Not just volunteering would argue that. I would like to add more to my second speaker. Not just volunteering would add to our country's development. There's education, work, taxes, innovation, and community service. And conscription goes far beyond encouraging contribution. It allows government to take control of years of a person's life regardless of their personal growth, educational plans, and career aspirations. Proud has mentioned that time is only temporary, but time is time. Time is valuable. You need that time to continue to develop, to work in other sectors such as education, especially education, and then you can work in healthcare and become all the other jobs that you believe will contribute to your country's development. And we believe that government should only exercise such extraordinary power during genuine national emergencies. Politicians have failed to demonstrate why that level of coercion is necessary. And our third and most important fact is technical threat versus real problems. Look, how often does war happen? We might know that there's a war, there might be conflict. No, thank you. But governments are already struggling with the reform. They are struggling to solve these hypothetical problems. They do not have resources that they can always use to solve every single problem that there is. The realities that our citizens are facing are poverty, inadequate access to healthcare and infrastructure, and because they have limited resources, they must prioritize the challenges that our people are facing. Real reality, not hypothetical, and we might not even know if the war is going to happen or not. So, ladies and gentlemen, competition has shown us why conscription may be useful and important in certain exceptional circumstances. However, opposition has shown that it is unnecessary for the majority of other countries. And they ask you to prepare for a war that may never come, but we ask you to solve the conflict citizens face every single day. For those reasons, opposition is proud to host. Okay. Thank you for your fine speech. The speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 15 seconds.